Hey, happy Friday, everybody. It is Chamber check in time, and welcome to another episode from Idaho's only five-star accredited chamber. Today, we get to hear and learn about a brand new not for profit organization that is 100% volunteer ran. It's called Freedom Youth Foundation, helping foster kids. And we have founder and owner Shane Hansen with us today. Hi, Shane.
How's it going? Thanks for having me, Paul.
My pleasure. You and I had an opportunity. I got to meet you a couple of months ago when you joined the chamber for the nonprofit, and we got to diving in and talking about all kinds of different things. And I was inspired by your story, and I'm so glad to share it today. These chamber check-ins, Shane, are really great ways of sharing our chamber member stories, their products, services, but most importantly, the people. So, why don't we start out with that, Shane? Tell us a little bit about your background. You're relatively new to Boise. Tell us what brought you to the Treasure Valley.
Yeah, absolutely. So we moved to the Treasure Valley in late 2017. My wife had family and godparents that were up here that moved up here 20 years ago. And when we were dating, we kind of saw the lifestyle and what it allowed for families. And my first job out of college was in Los Angeles, and the 405 Sepulveda Pass. And I very quickly realized that's not what I wanted for the rest of my life. Had our first and our second child, and ultimately decided in 2017 to come up here to just enjoy the outdoors, enjoy the people, and enjoy the community.
Terrific. Well, welcome. I hope your kids are enjoying it. I know they are.
They love it.
All right. Since I know the story, I can't wait for you to tell us the origin story of the Freedom Youth Foundation. Why don't you kick it off and help go through when it all started, why, and how you continue offering these impactful services?
Yeah, absolutely. So, a little bit about the background. I played sports in college, but played basketball. It gave me so many opportunities, met so many people, traveled the world. And what it ultimately showed me is just the true power that sports had. So when I graduated in November of 2011, I think we have a picture on the slide too, that if we want to pull that up.
Yeah.
In November of 2011, the U.S. Embassy in Serbia asked me to come and run a peace camp for the former region of Yugoslavia. So this is myself in the middle. All of these kids, it's a war-torn area. Their grandparents were killing their other grandparents. And just when I got there, there was this unbelievable tension. And 10 days in the mountains with a UN translator, and it was just an unbelievable experience. I saw the true power of sports. And it wasn't about how many points we were scoring. It actually was changing lives. So that's why our slogan is success without a scoreboard, because we're helping foster youth locally. But this is the genesis of what started the organization all the way back in 2011. So that's when the organization was founded. And it was founded as a sports organization called Progression Athletics International, because that's all we did at the time. It's since evolved, and we can talk about that. But that's the order of how everything began.
What are some of the programs that the Freedom Youth Foundation is offering?
Yep. So we can pull it up here. So we work with foster youth. So when all this happened, I came back to the States and I said, how can I help my own community? And my heart was pulled towards foster youth. Many of them are in a situation not of their own decision making.
Right.
Something happened to somebody else, and it's a job to come around these children and give them every opportunity to be successful. So some of the sports programs that we do is we continue to offer sports. And so we have basketball, we're soon to be having football. We're looking for help. That could be one of the things, if anyone's listening, we would love help with coaching football. We have soccer. Top Golf locally in Boise donates their facility 4 times a year with the Golf Pro Lauren. And we fill up the facility, and the kids absolutely love it. So that's the sports programs, and we just kind of connect with them and give them encouragement and introduce them to different opportunities. But we've since evolved into financial literacy, job training, mentorship, and a scholarship fund. So if a child is in our program and they're aging out, we want to help guide them to trade schools or junior college, or the really big push right now is the Foster Care Employment Alliance, and it's a distribution list of employers that are willing to listen. There's a good standing foster child looking for a job, that they'll listen and talk to them. And so that's ultimately what it's evolved to, and it's been phenomenal.
What picture are we looking at here?
So this right now, so this is our first ever event in Southern California, all the way back in 2011. This is in Orange County. That same year we expanded. We still have those facilities and partnerships today. This right here is a picture of Manila, Philippines. So about 2 years after we started, there was a big typhoon that decimated Manila. And a volunteer in Seattle actually called me and said, I really feel led to go and help these families. And so we actually flew with 500 pounds of baby formula and supplies and got stuck in customs. It was a crazy experience getting out there. But this is me running a basketball clinic by myself in basically a junkyard. There's sewage running through the streets on the backside. There was a gal that was ambulanced away right before we started with tuberculosis. It was life-changing for me. But sports absolutely empower these kids, and we've evolved into supporting an orphanage called Gentle Hands over there. And so we do Taekwondo, and we do a bunch of other, and there's some other pictures in here as well, but we still support them to this day.
That's incredible. Hey, will you go back to the slide that's kind of the timeline slide and kind of review that with me?
Yep, absolutely. So we talked about the beginning in November 2011. We just talked about the Philippines. We've since expanded as well to a facility in Mexico, in Tijuana, and I was just down there 2 months ago. And so this is what it looked like before we got involved, and this is what they were playing basketball and soccer on. And in a couple slides down the road, I can show you the sports complex we've built in partnership with some corporations. And we hire a full-time athletic director that supports 300 children a day to run sports programs as well.
Tell me about the Treasure Valley impact. I am unaware of the amount and percentage of foster youth in our Treasure Valley. I don't know if you have that type of data you could share, but how are you impacting the Treasure Valley youth?
Yes, that's near and dear to my heart, and that's our number one focus right now. Ever since we started this organization, anything that was done overseas is done by corporate sponsorship specifically for that. Everything else is done on a local basis. So we partner with the Department of Health and Welfare and the foster community at large to provide our resources and the opportunity to participate in our program. So we run multiple events a month. We partnered with Jump in Boise last month to do a cornhole and a dinner. So we invited the kids up, and they had an amazing time. They were going down the slide. So those are the things that we do throughout the month. It's sports opportunity, different type of nights. We partnered to get tickets for Wahoos and Roaring Springs. We're just trying to get these kids engaged and give them every opportunity that we try to give our kids as well.
Hey, is this a picture of the trophy program? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the trophy program was something that I thought through when I was at my parents' house, and growing up, I played all different types of sports, and there was 100 or 200 trophies that were just collecting dust.
Right.
And I said, my parents don't value it. I don't necessarily value it anymore. Why can't we refurbish these trophies to give them out to the kids? Because they look at them like, it's a great highlight. So we went through and we own the website trophyrecycling.com. And what we realized is that it's almost twice as expensive to refurbish an old trophy, because every one of them are different, than buying a new one. So we were working with a great distributor of trophies, but we quickly realized every one is different. It wasn't cost efficient. So we still do our trophy program today. And it's one of our greatest impacts, because we highlight 4 children a day or per event for different characteristics: leadership, sportsmanship, inspiration, and kind of our MVP who really stood out. And it has nothing to do with how many baskets or how many goals they scored. It has everything to do with how are they helping others and encouraging and providing joy to the event, etc. So that's been really, really impactful to give those children something to aspire at each and every event.
Shane, I love this, because sports teaches us so many things: teamwork, goal setting, positive mental attitude, the list goes on and on. And thank you for doing this. And what a great idea to reward and recognize kids that are outstanding among their peers. And it sure just gives them a sense of accomplishment and elevates their confidence when they're out doing stuff.
Absolutely.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about the last two things, the financial literacy and the scholarships?
Yep, absolutely. So I'll cruise through here and I'll pull it up right here because I have a slide on it. So the financial literacy program is near and dear to my heart because I think society in general, children in general, schools, it's a very lacking category in the education system. So I'm going to pour everything that I can into my 4 children to try to them be successful and make the right decisions. And they're going to stumble a couple times. Money and finances is a way that these children can get themselves into holes and make wrong decisions that's going to have lasting impact. So the vision of our programs, kind of the roadmap, is we work with sports with all ages, but really we want to build relationships until they get 15 to 16 years old. At that point, we start to introduce them into financial literacy. So our first one coming up here, we're partnering with ICCU and HRATV actually to do a half financial literacy where we can go through and teach them the basics of money and savings and bank accounts and just credit card debt. And then the other half is going to be a session with HR professionals to talk about preparing for a job, thinking about employment, right? Getting them in the thought process of not just living in today, but having a goal to aspire to so that we can come around and support them. So the financial literacy piece is a big component of what we're really trying to push as we prepare them for adulthood.
All right, this is great. I think everybody needs your financial literacy course. Tell us about the scholarships.
Yep. So the scholarship fund is the fund that we just launched in the 4th quarter last year. And we want to give these children the opportunity to be successful. As I mentioned earlier, an opportunity that I want to give my kids, we want to give them the same opportunity. So if a child is in good standing, they're getting good grades in school, they're coming to our programs, they're doing everything that they do, they submit an application, kind of making sure that they know the trajectory. They're not going to get it right every time, but we want them to be thinking long-term. We want to come around them. So we're looking to offer the avenue of supporting them to go to a JC or a trade school, or if they want to work in the employment world, that's where the Employment Alliance comes in, and we can come around and buy them the clothing and make sure that they have the necessary means to do that. So it's working path or employment path.
All right. We talked a lot about the Freedom Youth Foundation today, and thanks for helping me share some of the programs that you offer to positively impact the lives of those in the foster world. And I asked a question, and I don't know if you know the answer, but how many foster youth are there in the state of Idaho? Do you know?
There's over 1,000. It fluctuates a lot. There's, Boise out to Nampa is kind of the hotspot of resources. When something happens in another area of the state, they're flown into this area to get resources. And there's a lot of tapping out. Today, there is not enough beds to house them. So they're coming up with other ways to do that. So there's other needs, additional needs. There's vision of building a facility to house them and provide kind of a safe haven for them. That's obviously a much bigger fundraiser program. Right now, we're a volunteer-based organization. We have amazing volunteers, but we're not built for that. So we're just trying to come around and support what we can do in the meantime. But yes, there's often over 1,000, 1,200 foster youth in the state of Idaho.
Thanks for sharing that. And on the screen now looks like ways that we can help. Why don't you help review that with me?
Yeah, absolutely. So, there obviously there's the financial path. I never ask. I want someone to feel convicted and really like what we're doing. So that's an obvious thing that any nonprofit needs. But really, we need volunteers. So on our website, we have our calendar for the rest of the year, and it's always updated for soccer clinics, basketball clinics, as I mentioned, football. Come out and volunteer. Come to Topgolf and just encourage these kids. Financial literacy and mentorship. We need people that want to have a relationship with an individual child and help them, especially as they're nearing adulthood. There's a big program that we rolled out that's had amazing success as well. It's a little act, but a huge impact, and that's our card writing. So we provide cards to businesses. We bring them to our fundraisers, anything, and we allow individuals to write a card to a foster child. And there was an unbelievable story of a child that was 16 years old at one of the events that came up to me and said, "Who is Ben?" And it was a card written by Ben. And he's like, "Why would Ben write a card to a kid that he doesn't know?" And it was all about just that he's loved and he's supported. And he was like, "I want to meet Ben one day." So it was super, super impactful. And then we're also having the children write volunteers and donors cards as well, so that there's some, there's some connection there. And then just people that want to advocate. We're always looking to meet needs. We're helping to grow and expand. We just want to be there when these children need something. And so we always have an open ear to hear if there's a need.
Wow, Shane, that was so fun to hear and help share what the Freedom Youth Foundation is doing here in the Treasure Valley. And is there anything else? Anything else while I have you that you'd like to educate the listeners on?
No, we're just excited. We appreciate the opportunity today, and we're excited to be a part of the chamber and continue to grow and network with the community. And a lot of people don't know the crisis that we have in the foster community, and it's in our own backyard. It's across the street. It's all over. And so we're on a mission to help educate people, find individuals that are interested in potentially adopting or fostering. And we're just trying to be an advocate for kind of this invisible, I wouldn't see as any pictures of the kids that we work with locally because we can't share those pictures. So it's very hard as an organization to invest a lot of time, but we can't really share the story as well as we want to because we can't have videos or pictures of their faces because we want to protect their identity. But we're just trying to it's an invisible population that we're trying to advocate for.
Thank you, Shane. I really appreciate it. Thanks for your investment in the chamber. And looks like we already had quite a few people here who have been watching that are interested in getting involved, at least at the financial literacy level and sending cards of motivation. I think that is so cool that you thought of that. And people love getting cards in the mail, especially positive thoughts. There's nothing better. Shane, again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your membership. Thank you for your investment in the community.
Thank you for the opportunity. Have a great day.
You too.